At the Clermont-Ferrand Fair, the air buzzed with vibrant energy from its lights, laughter, and thrilling rides. Among them, the Maxximum demanded attention with its ability to hit patrons with an adrenaline rush they'd never experienced before. But on one fateful February day, the ride of a lifetime turned fatal. How swiftly did things turn for the worst? What exactly happened on that day? And who was held responsible for the catastrophe? Today, we're delving into the shocking story of a young woman whose quest for adrenaline took a fatal twist on this very thrill ride. It was February 4th, a typical festive day at the Clermont-Ferrand Fair. Children's laughter echoed, the smell of sweet cotton candy filled the air, and the dazzling lights from the rides flickered like stars against the twilight sky. Amidst the crowd stood an attraction that was a beacon for thrill seekers, the Maxximum. The Maxximum was not your ordinary ride. It was a high-thrill machine, a mechanical beast that promised an adrenaline rush like no other. With an 8-seat gondola attached to the end of a 35-foot arm, rotating at speeds that could reach up to 50 miles per hour, it was certainly not for the faint-hearted. In fact, it even came with a warning, not suitable for those with heart or respiratory problems. Amidst the crowd, a spirited 21-year-old woman stood out, her eyes sparkling with a mix of anticipation and excitement, eager for the adrenaline rush the Maxximum promised. An ardent thrill seeker, she was known for her zest for life, her infectious laughter, and her insatiable appetite for adventure. This ride was meant to be another exciting chapter in her book of experiences, not the last one. She had no heart or respiratory problems. She was young, vibrant, and full of life. But one moment changed everything. The Maxximum ride was ready to start, with its 8 seats filled with thrill seekers, our young woman among them. The atmosphere was charged with excitement and anticipation, mingling with the cool night air. As the ride started, the gondola began to spin, rotating around its axis, faster and faster. As the gondola climbed higher, the cheers grew louder, the excitement more palpable. But then, in the midst of the thrill, an unexpected hitch, a sound that didn't belong, a sudden jerk. Everything that followed felt like a nightmarish spectacle, as if reality had slipped away into an abyss of terror. Suddenly, amidst the whir of the ride and the thrill-seekers' screams, a real scream of terror pierced the air. It was the young woman, strapped into her seat on the Maxximum, but in the cacophony of the fair, her screams were swallowed, unheard. It's a spine-chilling irony, a lone, desperate plea for help swallowed in the sea of joyous screams. Then, it happened. The safety constraints gave way, and she was ejected from her seat, flying through the air until she hit the safety barriers with a sickening thud before crashing into the operator's cabin. The ride screeched to a halt, and lights appeared to dim, casting an ominous shadow as a horrified silence engulfed the fair. First responders rushed to the scene, their faces a mirror of the shock that had swept over the crowd. The fairground, which moments ago had been a place of joy and laughter, was now a scene of horror and disbelief. As the dust settled on this chaotic scene, questions began popping up. Why? How? Who? It was time for answers. In the immediate aftermath, chaos reigned. The fair authorities and the ride operator stood frozen in disbelief, their faces mirroring the horror etched on every onlooker's face. Can you imagine being in their shoes? Feeling the weight of the tragedy that had just unfolded under their watch. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, their trained calmness a stark contrast to the frenzied commotion. The bright, joyful lights of the fair suddenly felt too harsh, casting long, dark shadows over a scene of unthinkable despair. But this tragedy isn't just about grief and loss. It's about responsibility and accountability. The fair authorities acted promptly. An investigation was swiftly launched, aiming to decipher the series of events leading up to this horrifying incident. Could it have been avoided? Was there a failure in safety measures? The ride operator, on the other hand, points towards a technical failure. He asserts that he noticed no issues during the daily checks. He is confident that the accident was not due to human error, accepting that a diligently maintained ride with routine checks could turn into an instrument of catastrophe is a bitter pill to swallow. The immediate fallout is severe for the company owning the Maxximum. Charges are filed against them, involuntary manslaughter and concealed work. The usually crowded ride is now ominously silent, closed off with police tape. The director of the attraction, however, offered a different perspective. The ride shouldn't have started, he said. his voice weighed down by grim conviction. Had there been issues swept under the rug in the rush of daily operations? The unsettling possibility of negligence or oversight added a new layer of complexity to the tragic incident. In the midst of all this, one figure is notably absent, an undeclared employee who has seemingly vanished in the wake of the accident. Where is he, and what role, if any, did he play in this tragic event? These are questions roaming in the mind of all. Initial elements of the investigation point towards a compromised safety feature, a degraded belt, and a safety framework that seemed to be lowered but not locked, a small yet crucial detail that has massive implications. Can you imagine? A simple click of a lock, a quick check of a belt? Could it have made all the difference? As we grapple with these questions, the truth behind this tragic accident remains shrouded in mystery. In the ensuing days, as investigators unraveled the mechanics of the Maxximum, multiple possible failures started to emerge. Expert ride engineers, forensic investigators, and safety inspectors pored over every bolt, every wire, and every safety latch. It was like watching detectives solve a crime, the crime scene being the steel beast that was once a source of exhilarating joy. Amidst this chaos of technical jargon and engineering nuances, a terrifying picture begins to unfold. Think about it. What if you were strapped into that ride, ready for an adrenaline rush, only to find out too late that the system meant to protect you was flawed? It's a chilling thought, isn't it? Multiple failures, all leading to a single moment of disaster. Yet each piece of the puzzle only serves to deepen the mystery surrounding this tragic event. The question remains, how could this happen? And most importantly, could it have been prevented? So we've traveled through a chilling narrative today. A story that began with the promise of an adrenaline rush and ended in a heartbreaking tragedy. A day of fun at the Clermont-Ferrand Fair turned into a horrifying nightmare, one that claimed the life of a young, vibrant woman and left us all in shock. But what can we learn from this tragic incident? This shocking event forces us to ask, are our thrill rides really as safe as we believe? Does the quest for an adrenaline surge justify the potential danger involved? The Clermont-Ferrand Fair tragedy is a stark reminder of the need for more stringent safety measures. It highlights the importance of meticulous safety checks and not letting anything or anyone slip through the cracks. In our quest for thrills and entertainment, we must never compromise on safety. Let's not forget that these amusement rides, while thrilling, can pose serious dangers if not operated and maintained correctly. It's not just about the ride, it's about the lives that depend on it. So next time you're at a fair, excited to hop onto a thrill ride, take a moment. Look around, ask about safety measures, and most importantly, trust your instincts. Because as we've seen today, sometimes the greatest thrill comes with the greatest risk.